I always say this, and you can't teach pressure, and those guys are very experienced. So I don't think it's gonna be a pressure aspect because everyone in the server's experience. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's gonna be just whoever the better team is that day. Honestly, it's just whoever shows up and wants to be better. I know they had a rough showing against G2, and we had just a good showing, so people automatically think, oh, we're better, they have no chance. But we cannot think like that against them, because regardless of what it may look like, they can do the same thing and turn it around for that next week.
Everyone, Stage 2, and I'm here with Leviathan's Rossy, second attempt at this interview. So,
tech issue, tech timeout in the media room.
Yeah, we're bringing the VCT tech timeouts from stage to the press room, but we're back here. A close series overall. Just quick thoughts overall. Positive takeaways from 3-game series against the best team in Americas.
Yeah, I mean, I'm usually a person that's very hard to give compliments because I only do them when I believe they deserve it. But this is the first time I can genuinely say I'm super proud of my teammates. Honestly, they did so amazing, and we really turned it around. As you can see, it's very obvious from first week to now. It's like you could blind, if you took off the names, you would think you wouldn't believe that's us. You know what I mean? If you showed us the first week. So honestly, just really amazing turnaround. We just need a little more time. Just give me a little more time with the coaching staff, and we're gonna really fully turn it around. And I think, as you see, we definitely have the potential to be the best team in the world, like best team in Americas, and definitely in the world with the talent that we have. We just had to figure out as a team, and we're getting there. So just give us more time, please.
Yeah. Would you say that this past week was the most confident the team has been in the practice, with just everything, with all the role shifts and just kind of figuring out how to find like the team synergy with everything? Like, talk to me about the past week for you.
Yeah. Absolutely not. First off, no confidence. We were losing. If there's VCT Scrim scores on Twitter, guys, you can see check out store. I think I saw 20-4 like a couple times. We were losing. We were getting absolutely demolished. You know what I mean? And even considering that, we came in and we did the game plan we wanted. We did everything that we wanted, and it just showed that we're practicing the right way. We're doing the right things. And it's funny because when we were the first 2 weeks before C9 game and MIBR, we were winning a lot of our scrims. We were actually doing pretty well. And it was like kind of the opposite for us. So now we've just been losing every scrim, getting destroyed. And we've turned it around. We did it much better. Even though it's a loss, it doesn't even feel like a loss, honestly, for how much we improved. I'm just very happy, honestly.
Yeah, it seems like there's been a lot of just strides made for Leviathan, where it seems like the team is starting to play together and things are just starting to figure out. What do you feel like was the toughest thing that was really stopping the team from being able to make these big strides like we saw today against G2? Was it the communication? Was it just figuring out the IGL situation? Talk to me about that.
IGL situation, not at all, because we just made an IGL change for the C9 game, and it was like 2 days before. Like, we made like a last second decision. It was like for like 48 hours we had an IGL change. You know what I mean? It wasn't even like that. So it wasn't about that. It was more about the identity we wanted to play, how we wanted to play the game, and being on the same page. I remember Dean once said this. He was like, every team's on the same book and on the same page. We weren't even on the same book. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, we just weren't on the same, not even in the same vicinity. You know what I mean? We were completely lost. So now we're on the same page, even close, getting to the same line, if you will. So that was the main thing, just having the idea of how we want to play, what our identity is, and the meta read. We were so behind in the meta. If you notice, our meta read was bad, and just our playing together our ideas were bad, because honestly, the more I think about it, it's probably the meta read, if anything, not really identity, because it was just not working for us. And you know what I mean? We're just so confused, like, oh, this is the meta, like, you know what I mean? And just adapting to the meta, though, and the identity would be the main two things I'd say.
Yeah. And it seems like you guys are on a really clear path with everything. So I also just wanted to check in with you now, kind of moving away from the game a bit. It's been, I think, about a month since you've been, and maybe a month and a half since media day, kind of stuff like that. How's everything just kind of been adjusting into the past 6 weeks? Has anything changed? Any fun updates with that?
Honestly, in esports, it feels like whenever you're in the season and you're preparing for the season, it feels very like, if you work hard, I'll say this, disclaimer, if you work hard, there's people that just going for scrims, you know what I mean? It goes, you know, I'm not one of those people. So I'm putting in, like, I'm waking up 10 a.m., getting to practice by 11, and I'm playing from at least 11 to 11 or 11 to 12 every day minimum. You know what I mean? And not like as in, oh, like you go in 11, you do a couple scrims, you take a 2-hour break, you eat, you mess around. I'm actually like working during those times and actually being very productive. So I say at least 9 to 10 hours of actual work within that period, within that 12-hour time period. So it's more like I don't even realize what's going on. I'm just focused on just getting the work done. I'm not really a human being. I'm a human doer currently, right? So not really. It really hasn't hit me. You know what I mean? It just feels like it doesn't feel no different from when I was in Korea or I was a tier 2 player. I'm just working, and that's about it right now.
I'm kind of semi familiar with the League of Legends structure with the scrims and everything. What's the schedule like for LEV, or does it change for certain players? Is there a usual like 3-hour scrim block for every single team? Like what's the day to day?
We used to do 3 scrims, but now we do 5 with with a lot of review and like a lot of theory as well. Like 2 hours, we'll do like 2 hours theory. We'll do like 5 scrims, and then we'll do like VOD review for like an hour as well. So that's minimum, 8 hours right there. Yeah. But the most important thing is not about the team practice. The team practice is like almost similar for everyone. It's about the individual work. A lot of ranked, at least 4 to 5 ranked games every day for me. That's what I'm trying to do, and trying to get the team on that as well, and just playing the game a lot. And watching the VODs as well in the own time, playing the ranked, watching other teams' VODs, learning from other players and doing that thing. So that's kind of like the structure of what it is. It's like, I would say 7 to 8 hours of actual team play, and then 4 or 5, at least 4 hours of individual work, which could be VOD review or playing ranked. Playing ranked is a mandatory thing, and that's what I've really tried to push here at Leviathan and in America, because it's something that in Korea is really pushed by the coaches. Like solo queue is very, very important, and I believe that as well now after being there. So I just want them to keep playing ranked, and that's what my teams are doing, and watching other people's VODs and learning in that way.
I'm actually genuinely curious now, because we've talked before how you talked about how the structure in Korea really aligned with the way that you viewed the game and just work ethic and practices. In terms of just the day-to-day from other teams that you're on in tier 2 versus Korea, how many hours are there? Is there a difference in the day-to-day of what you're doing? Is it like 8 hours versus 14 hours of practice? Like, what is that like?
Including team, like just team or individual, like individual as well?
Team and individual.
Okay, honestly, in other teams, like it would be like 3 scrims, maybe some review, like 4 or 5 hours in America, like maybe like let's just say 5-6 hours max in America, it feels like. And then now we've already up to 8 here, and in Korea it was like, dude, it was a lot. Like it was from like at least like a 10 to 10, like we would do 10 to 1, like, you know what I mean, 10 to 1, like 10 a.m. to like 1 a.m., you know what I mean? But it would be like 10 to 11 for team stuff. But we'd have like an hour break to eat, and then an hour before that just to like talk about things. But it was like 5-6 scrims, a lot of review, like after every scrim review right away, like for like 5 minutes, like quick review, and just keep reviewing after 5 scrims, and then we take an hour break to eat, and then we review after, and the review before as well. So right now it's closest been to Korea, but not a little less, maybe like 2 hours less, maybe 2 to 3 hours less, but it's the closest thing here. But other teams it's been like 5-6, and not even like, you don't even need to play ranked, and coasting, as some would say.
The way you kind of describe your day-to-day and schedule, it seems like all it's really been these past 6 weeks has been sleeping, practicing, and then calling and texting your mom. Is that kind of the gist of what's been your LA experience so far?
Yeah, I try to go out with some of my friends, but we've been truthfully, we've been too bad so I can afford it to like not play ranked one day. We've just been horrible. So now I can take a break, because we still need to play against NRG, who's going to be a tough opponent regardless, and we need to clinch that playoff seed, which is what we want and what we need, So we need to still do that. But now it feels like finally it's like, okay, I can actually like rest and think a little bit now, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because we've made so much improvement and actual improvement, but we need to keep it going and keep it consistent now. That's the main thing. And by keeping it consistent, you kind of need to do the same things, but maybe in a little less moderation.
Mm-hmm. I usually don't really ask this type of question just because it's a little like surface level, but I'm curious, going next week into NRG, what are your thoughts on that? Because there's a lot of pressure. If you lose that, I'm pretty sure you just don't qualify for playoffs, right? Yeah. It's one of you two that would qualify. So talk to me about going into that series then.
I always say this, you can't teach pressure, and those guys are very experienced. So I don't think it's going to be a pressure aspect, because everyone in the server's experience, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's going to be just whoever the better team is that day, honestly. It's just whoever shows up and wants to be better. I know they had a rough showing against G2, and we had just a good showing, so people automatically think, oh, we're better, they have no chance, but we cannot think like that against them, because regardless of what it may look like, they can do the same thing and turn it around for that next week and be very prepared and look really well. So we're going to prepare the same way we did for G2, as the same way we prepared for any other team, and do our absolute best. And yeah, it's not going to be an easy match. We know it's not going to be an easy match, and we're going to do our absolute best and just prepare like how we've been.
All right, and then my final question really is I watched your series with Baby Bay. When you talked about how he was just really influential in terms of just finding confidence and all that, was that actually true? Or was that more so just because Baby Bay was in front of you and it was fun?
Okay, I've always been a confident person in my life, but there was what I said it to his face. There's one thing that he said. He said to me, he's like, or to the whole team, he's like, guys, if your teammate is doing really well, that should give you the confidence to do really well as well. You know what I mean? And he said that, and I was like, wow, that actually makes a lot of sense. Because if you're on the same team as someone, maybe you're not the superstar player, but you belong there. You know what I mean? So if they're doing the same thing, you're on the similar level as them. You know what I mean? And that kind of hit me too. You know what I mean? And it really stuck with me. So that specific thing, absolutely, it was not 100% confidence, but a good 10-20%. Absolutely.
That's awesome to hear. All right, awesome, Rossy. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.